My Line. Brought to you by Kellogg's, the folks who bring the best to you each morning. The widest choice of cereals in the forms you like best. Yours from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now thank you. It's always a pleasure to introduce this member of our panel, who is really a member of the family of What's My Line in more ways than one, Martin Gabel.
Before I introduce the charming girl on my left, I'd like to extend my sympathy to a dear girl who's huddled in the corner of the airport in Tampa, Florida, waiting for the storm to lift so a plane can take off, my wife, Arlene Francis. And now, gallantly filling in, that gifted and charming girl, Miss Polly Bergen.
And now, will the real Random House publisher, lecturer, panelist, and collector of funny stories please step forward? Mr. Bennett, Cerf.
Thank you, Polly. I think you got your shows mixed up. And I think it's a good time, since it's the start of National Library Week, to thank all the thousands of librarians all over the country, too, who are working so hard with disgracefully low salaries to raise the cultural standard of this country. They're wonderful people. And also, here's one of the men who reads their books occasionally, our panel moderator, John Charles Daly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Miss Polly Bergen. It's very nice of you to be with us tonight with Miss Arlene entrapped in the Florida sunshine. You coming on short notice, we thank you, and we'll not be at all kind to you for coming. Don't be tough. Be tough on the whole panel, as a matter of fact. We'll also have a famous mystery guest a little bit later in the show, and we'll meet our first challenger after this. And now let's meet our first challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please? Louise.
You made it. Emmons, congratulations. Nervous?
No.
No. Is it Miss or Mrs. Emmons?
Miss Emmons.
Miss Emmons, where are you from, Miss Emmons?
Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. Fine. Nice to have you here with us. Panel, may I present Miss Emmons? Miss Emmons, would you join me over here, please? You know how we keep score, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
All right, then we'll let the good folks who braved this rain in New York tonight and come to the theater, and those who are watching at home, let them all know exactly what your line is. Panel, we can tell you that Miss Emmons is salaried, and let's begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Miss Emmons, this is not a yes or no question. I just wonder if you have anything to do with the college down at Swarthmore.
No.
But I didn't mean that as a
Yes,
question.
I know.
Well, I was just sneaking it in.
Oh.
Well, this was a real sneaky Pete. He
Well,
said, this is not a question, but do you have anything to do with the
No,
college?
I didn't mean that as a leading question. I thought practically everybody at Swarthmore must be connected. It's a very wonderful school. Miss
Well,
Emmons...
actually, here again, I think you should not be misled. We asked Miss Emmons where she was from, and she said she's
Yes.
from Swarthmore. Frankly, I think you're a resident now in New York, are you not?
That's right.
Do you perform a service, Miss Emmons?
Yes, I do.
Do you work for a non-profit making organization?
Yes.
Is it some kind of a government job?
Yes.
Is it a job that you have to pass some kind of a test to do?
I would say so.
There are some qualifications for it, and I think in searching the qualifications, we would agree that some form of testing has probably been done.
Would this be the kind of a job that might be seasonal or only take place occasionally?
Yes.
Say possibly every 10 years or so?
Possibly.
And could this be the kind of a job that a famous quiz contestant who won about $9 million on the air couldn't pass when he tried to take it himself?
It's a little involved.
I don't know.
Well, I have in mind census. Have you got something to do with this, with the new census?
Yes.
Are you, do you go around from house to house taking people's census?
Sometimes.
Well, I don't know. Am I supposed to do any more than to say that?
No,
it's
you've
census
done
taking?
plenty. I don't know why you... I must say this, we thought we were going to have a real load of fun with you because Miss Emmons took the census at your house, Bennett, Cerf.
Were you the
and
girl
at your
at the house the other
Mr.
morning?
Martin Gabel, and at your house,
Well-
Mrs. Colmar, Dorothy Kilgallen.
Without my knowledge?
That's right.
How about poor Polly's census?
No, well,
No
we-
one cares about me.
Well, I had in mind. I said at home after I said that'd be a good thing to get on the show. So my census. So I was, whether it was a man or a lady, I was going right after it when
Wait
it
a
came
minute.
on.
I have to know who to argue with in my house. Who gave out the information about me?
I believe it was your husband.
You want to argue with him? You may,
Okay,
Miss
honey,
Dorothy. You
just
got
stay
my
home. I'll
permission.
be home in a few minutes.
Now, I'd like to say I'm delighted that Bennett was so bright tonight because his son Chris is out front.
Oh,
I think
well.
it's very sweet that
Good.
tonight he guessed right away.
That's just wonderful what Bennett can do when he's got his son here. I'll have to gag him for the rest of this show. That's too good. I'm sorry, Miss Evans. I was afraid if he'd only gone for a profit-making thing, we'd have been all set. But he took the right road. It was a mistake. He's not that clever. Really, he isn't.
He's just a meanie.
We'll flip these all over anyway, because you were nice enough to come and see us. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to have you with us. Well, Polly, I guess what we'll have to decide is that you're inspirational, too. It's a wonderful beginning for the panel tonight. Let's see what we can do with the second challenger. Would you come in and sign in, please? Nick? Nick Padilla, is that right, sir? Right. Mr. Padilla, where are you from?
New York City.
New York. Yes. Oh, fine. Well, may I introduce the panel, Mr. Padilla?
Hello.
You join me over here. Mr. Padilla, you know how we keep score?
Yes, I do.
All right. We'll let the folks then at home and here in the audience know exactly what your line is. All right. Mr. Padilla is salaried, and let's begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Padilla, is there a product involved in what you do?
Yes, there is.
Is it a useful product?
Yes, very useful.
Could any one of us on this panel use it?
No, just before you answer that, because I don't want you to mislead, are you asking here, Dorothy, in terms of can an individual on the panel or could everybody
Could
on
one of us, not could all of us, but could one of us?
It could
Is there
one of us.
anyone on this panel who could use it?
It's possible.
It's possible. Would you say it would be unlikely that all four of us would own one of these?
Yes, unlikely.
If I were walking down Fifth Avenue with one of these things, would it be noticeable?
Yes, it
Is it bigger than a woman's fairly large handbag?
would. Yes.
Is it smaller than a jet plane?
Yes, it is.
Most of the time.
Does it have any mobility?
No.
In and of itself, no. It has no intrinsic mobility. That's 1 down, 9 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Am I right in thinking it's not alive?
Yes, it's not alive.
very alive if it hasn't moved.
Is it made of vegetable rather than mineral
Yes.
material? Am I right in thinking it's not an article of wearing apparel?
No, you're not.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Bergen.
Is this then is an article of wearing apparel, right?
Yes.
And it is something that one of us might wear on the panel. Would it be something that would be more logical worn out of the city?
You mean rather than in the city?
Yes.
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Padilla, unless dear Mr. Daly has been leading us up the garden path again, he said something about it usually being smaller than...
Oh, that was just a quip. Don't worry about it.
Does this sometimes vary in size?
Yes.
Is it worn more by women than men?
Yes, it is.
Would it be described possibly as an intimate article of apparel?
No, not.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
We all have different...
Would the lady wearing this particular product be in what is generally known as a delicate condition?
Yes.
Is it some type of maternity garment?
Yes, it is.
Well, then Polly and I have both worn them. Do we have to say what it is? Is it a maternity something special, like a maternity
that's
bikini?
the product. We now have to determine what it is. Mr. Padilla has to do with the maternity clothes.
He designs them.
Right. That was fun. Actually, to set everything right, Mr. Padilla, is... See, you've been doing this for several years, haven't you?
Yes, it's about 6 years now.
With
Been designing.
Stork
Styles.
Styles. I don't know why the name Stork Styles.
John, I don't want to argue, but isn't having a baby rather an intimate thing?
But maternity clothes, maternity dresses are not intimate apparel, leastwise not, as I understand, intimate apparel. And let's not take this any farther.
I resign.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Have you here with us. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which my friends in the panel are, as you all know, asked to blindfold themselves. Are the blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, John.
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? I brought my own clack with me tonight, panel. Don't worry about that at all. As you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we change our form of questioning, Miss Polly. Everybody gets a chance, but we do it one at a time. You ask one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and let's begin it with Martin Gabel.
Based on those whistles, unless the country's changed drastically, you're a girl.
Yes, that's right.
Miss Bergen?
Are you in the entertainment field?
Well, yes, I am.
Mr. Cerf?
Have you ever appeared in a motion picture?
Yes, I'd say so.
You would.
Miss
Yes.
Kilgallen?
Do you also make records? No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Are you a dramatic actress rather than a comedienne?
That's right, honey.
Miss Polly?
Have you ever worked on the legitimate stage?
Yes, I have. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Cerf?
Are you one of the stars in a picture that is currently on a Broadway, in a Broadway theater, or is about to be in a Broadway theater?
Well, yes, that's right.
Miss Kilgallen?
Did Bennett say theater or
Movies.
movie?
Motion
Oh.
picture.
Have you any plans for Broadway in the near future?
No, I don't believe so.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Was this picture made by one of the major studios?
Yes, uh-huh.
Miss Bergen?
Is there a gentleman playing in it that is also rather well known for his acrobatic abilities?
No.
Almost any movie hero can do that.
That's true.
No.
I forgot.
No,
I
I'm
don't
afraid
think
not.
we can say that there's a notable ability as an acrobat involved here, Mr. Cerf.
Right.
Do you happen to have a father who was also reasonably well known in the theatrical world? Very well known.
Well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say.
Yes, he is.
yes, yes.
And you're Jane Fonda.
That's right.
I think on the picture. See, they carefully find out what pictures are coming in the coming years. This is a very formidable panel. They find out all the pictures that are going to open, who's going to be in town.
I thought if
hard to fool them.
If they didn't even have their blindfolders on, they wouldn't know who I was. I never thought they'd guess.
That's very nice and modest of you, but not so. Needless to say, the film is Tall Story. It's a baseball story, too.
Basketball.
I mean basketball. Excuse me. I don't know what happened to Bennett. Somebody gave him some hot bottle or something before he came down
I think
tonight.
it's the garlic I had earlier.
I wasn't going to mention it, Paul.
Yes, you were. I just beat you to it.
Well, Miss Jane, it will come as no surprise to you that great numbers of us think very highly of your dad. I must say we share his pride that you're coming in his footsteps in trace and making a great name for yourself as an actress.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Daly.
And we wish you lots of success. Hope everything just bubbles and bursts for the rest of your days.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being our
pleasure.
guest. Nice to have you with us. By the way, just to keep things so Miss Polly won't feel we gypped her, Tony Perkins is co-starring with Miss
Yes,
Jane.
I know. I'm
and
thinking of
Dorothy.
Burt Lancaster in the...
I thought you were, but
Unforgiven, yes.
if Tony Perkins is a big athlete, I mean a big acrobat, I wasn't aware of it, so... that
No,
was
I
a bit
don't
sure.
think he is.
Well, we'll have another contestant after this word from our alternate sponsor. And now let's meet another challenger. Will you come in and sign in, please? Edward Fenn, is that right, sir? Where are you from, Mr. Fenn?
From London, I now live in Philadelphia.
Live in Philadelphia now, but from London originally.
Yes.
Mr. Fenn, may I present the panel? Will you join me over here, please, sir? Have you been with us in Philadelphia or in the United States long enough to know or be familiar with the scorekeeping system we use on What's My Line?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then we'll let the folks at the theater and those at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel. We will tell you that Mr. Fenn is salaried, and Miss Polly Bergen, suppose you tackle from the beginning.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Fenn, is there a product involved in what you do?
No.
That's 1 down, 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
May we presume then, Mr. Fenn, that you perform a service of some kind?
Yes.
Do you work for a non-profit making organization?
Yes.
No, so far. You may have yourself some trouble. You let that answer stand. No, Mr. Fenn works for a profit-making organization by our terms of reference, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, how puzzling. Can both men and women avail themselves of your services?
Oh,
Mr.
yes,
Fenn?
yes.
Could someone on the panel avail himself or herself of your services?
I wish they would.
Would people generally seek you out in order to get your services? Rather than you're going to them, do people come to you or to your place of employment or ring you up on the phone?
I would think, just let me have a small con.
Most of the people.
Yes, they would make the contact.
Do you do your work in an ordinary business suit?
Sometimes.
Or do you ever work in some other garb for purposes of disguise?
No.
No. 3 down and 6 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Is
7 to
there
go.
something about your business, Mr. Fenn, which had to do with why you left England and came over here?
No.
Quite legitimate, of course.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Bergen.
Are your customers happier after they've come to your office or called you?
I hope so.
You hope so. Is your work more mental than physical?
Both.
It's both.
Should give you a no, Polly, but you're so pretty, we'll leave you go.
Well, you've given me so many. It's only fair. Wait, I'm going to ruin it all now. Do you have any physical contact with any of your customers?
No.
I told you.
Small conference.
You're
Thank
not
you.
off yet.
I mean, he must shake hands or something.
No, we discussed that whole matter of shaking hands very
It doesn't
thoroughly
count.
there. And he does, but we don't think that's necessarily germane to the question that you asked. So you still get a no. I'm awfully sorry, Polly.
It's
That's
all right,
5 down
Tom.
and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Fenn, is your business in any way concerned with the consumption of food or drink?
Both.
Both?
Oh, yes, in a degree.
Would you say that you were at all connected with the restaurant business?
No.
No, that's 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, since there is no product involved, you must be quite remote from the consumption of food and drink, although connected with it. Is that correct?
I think the issue here with respect to the product, Dorothy, was on the basis of whether he handled a product as a matter of his arrangement of employment. And
Oh,
in
I
that
thought that-
degree, he does not make or manufacture a product or sell a product, and so forth.
But there is a product involved in what he does.
Well, to the degree that there's a product involved to some degree or another in what all of us do, you know. I mean, there's a product involved in with you. It's a typewriter, but we wouldn't say you deal in typewriters. You see what I mean?
Not really, but anyway. Do you stay in one place generally rather than traveling about, Mr. Fenn?
In one place.
Is that a place that has more than 3 or 4 floors?
Yes.
More than 3 or 4?
May I rule out that it is a hotel? I mean, it is not a hotel, is that
No.
correct? Is it a place to which people come for food and drink, or drink?
No.
Not so. 7 down and 3 to go, Mr. Gabel.
Is it is this food and drink something that is more customarily consumed in another country than this country?
No.
That's 8 down and 2 to go, Miss Bergen.
Would you be more apt to work with, to deal in your services with more than one person at a time?
No.
No?
No, John.
I was about...
9 down and 1 to go.
Then can we rule out, well, I have to put in a question. Have you got anything to do, whatever, with transportation?
No.
It's funny because you were moving toward it, and then you got under the food and drink thing became paramount. I think you were moving into the area because it's Mr. Fenn is a butler.
What?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We filled the panel with your help. Well, anyway, I think one thing I ought to do, and that's something that needs to be done almost right away, is to warn Fayetteville, Arkansas, Wichita, Kansas, St. Louis, Missouri, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Cleveland, Ohio, to lock the doors and get the children in early. Bennett's coming out your way this week. And on that happy note, I say good night, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Good night, Martin.
Good night, Dorothy. Good night, Arlene. See you soon. Good night, Polly.
Good night. Good night, Bennett.
It's nice to have a substitute for you, Arlene, that's as pretty as Polly, but come back anyway. Good night, John.
Good night, Bennett. Have a good trip. And thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us on What's My Line?
Easter Seals help crippled children. Give hope to boys and girls in your community. Give to Easter Seals and fight crippling. What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Totten.